Welcome to Bark and Borrow. I'm Jacqueline Pate, and I'm joined by my partner in pet care lending, Claire Cronin. We're the pet care experts at Live Oak Bank, and we're here to help you navigate the business side of the pet industry. Whether you're looking to purchase your first location, scale your boarding capacity, or get the capital to acquire an existing facility, we've got you covered. We know that running a pet resort isn't all puppy cuddles. It's P&Ls, payroll, and a whole lot of grit. So we're peeling back the layers of the financing process to help you grow. If you're ready to start building your empire, you're in the right place. Let's dive in.
We're beyond excited to have Amy and Bill Hillis joining us today. Amy Hillis is the co-founder of Social Pet Hotel and Daycare and a success coach with the Paramount Success Group. She is passionate about educating and empowering pet care professionals to better serve their clients. In 2023 and 2024, Amy won the IBPSA Industry Leader Award, which recognizes those who have made outstanding efforts to improve the pet care industry through humanitarian or animal welfare efforts, education, and industry development. Bill currently serves as co-founder and CEO of Social Pet Hotel and Daycare with 3 locations in Charlotte, North Carolina area. He owns and operates Cross Creek Farm, Carolina, which includes farm stay, short-term rentals, and campsites in Millers Creek, North Carolina.
So Bill and Amy, how did you guys first decide to go into the pet care business together?
We got into the industry in 2014. Do you want to tell that story?
Well, it started in 2012. I was going to graduate school at Queen's University and working on an MBA program. And the culminating project for our team at the time was to take a business plan from an idea through conception to it being profitable and pitch it to venture capitalists. So it had to be a real viable business idea. And so the first couple of weeks, our group was focused on a dog daycare in the first floor of a high-rise apartment building. And Charlotte, at the time at least, that was not going to be that zoning was not allowed. The use ordinance was not allowed. So we had to move past that idea. But in that 3 weeks or 4 weeks, whatever we were working on it, we saw the demand for pet care, quality pet care, was there. And it was really fascinating to see that the places that were open at the time were not in great shape. They weren't very clean. They kind of smelled. And the offerings, it was very one size fits all. And so we looked at that and said, there is a real market demand here, and it just wasn't very professionalized at that time. So we felt like we could come in, we could just do the basics, have a nice clean place, really focus on all 5 senses, and run a very similar daycare program, but still, be heads above where they were at.
So Amy, what inspired the leap from 1 pet care facility up to 3 pet care facilities?
We wanted to make that leap from 1 to multiple because, like Bill said, we saw the need for that higher quality of pet care in Charlotte. And so we opened our first location in Pineville, North Carolina in 2014. And the demand was there and we were filling it. And with the size of the city of Charlotte, we knew that we could put another location closer to the center of Charlotte, near uptown Charlotte, and that location would do well. And so we identified our second location. We know what our target client is and what our ideal market is. And so 3 years after we opened the first location, we opened the second in Charlotte, and it was quick. It was quick.
It was a little, in hindsight for us, I think it was quicker than we would do it now, if that makes sense. It worked out well, and I don't know that we would have ever felt completely ready.
Right.
But we also knew we needed to grow to get to a certain scale so we could operate it and work on it and not have to work in it as an owner-operator, because that was always our goal, to be able to grow the business where we weren't just tied to it completely.
Right. We wanted to have a strong leadership team and build that infrastructure so we could work on it, and that was going to require having multiple locations. So that's what drove the decision to expand a little bit quicker than maybe we would have otherwise.
So was that really the plan from the beginning? Did you always kind of envision it getting to 3, potentially more in the future locations?
I know I didn't envision that initially. Bill is the entrepreneur out of the two of us. He's more entrepreneurial. And so I think that was something that was
was the
always in
plan,
our vision. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a 10-year plan actually at this point, and have a certain targets that we're looking for, but ultimately it's really the way the industry has gone. I mean, if we were not seeing the opportunity today that we were seeing back then, we would not be still working on growing the way we are. So we're going to be prudent about it, and we're not going to grow quicker than what we can on our own as well. With partners like Live Oak, we've made a very conscious decision not to bring on private equity or venture capital. At least at this point in our growth, we want to maintain a lot of control over the quality of care and be on the front edge of what's going on. And by Amy and I being the sole owners, we're able to take some risks. We of course have to be profitable on a monthly basis, but we can look at very long-term goals and not worry about a quarterly balance sheet or quarterly cash flow statement that those folks would want to be pressing us on.
Our backgrounds are very different. My background was in education. I was a middle school teacher and worked in a middle school for about 10 years before we started Social Pet. So I was able to bring the operational piece, the enrichment in terms of creating these differentiated experiences, just like I did for the students that I taught, meeting every child where they were to help get them to grow. That's what I was able to bring and apply that to pet care. So we wanted to create an environment where all dogs could thrive, all dogs could be respected as individuals, really celebrated as individuals so that they could thrive in our care. And then also the leadership piece, having led a classroom, I was able to build on that to help lead our staff as we grew our team.
I came at it from the business side of it. That's the part that has always interested me. Small business, I worked for a small business when I was in high school, and I really got to see, it was very small, like maybe 5 or 6 employees, and I really got to see the challenges and also the benefits of that. And while it is very challenging and in some aspects turned out to be more so than we could have ever thought, but in other aspects, I did feel very prepared for that. And for us, it's like the benefit has outweighed the tough times.
Yeah, it takes a large skill set as a business owner, not just with the pet care side of things, the people, the business side. There's just so many moving pieces all the time. So I think we're fortunate that we do have that diverse skill set because it helps us, we complement each other in terms of what we can each bring to the table, and it's really beneficial for the business.
Absolutely. And again, meeting and seeing you a lot of times as well, like you can see your personalities and what lane. I feel very much you stick to your lane, which is very important in this industry or any industry.
Absolutely. We learned from a very early point, we wanted to create those lanes and stay in them. And it's so hard when you're first getting started because as the business owners, you have to do everything at any point. You have to be ready to step in anywhere. And that was another one of the benefits of growing, is that we could further define our roles and really work in our area that we really excel and that we enjoy. And that's been able to propel the growth of the business even more.
So Bill and Amy, you guys have been operating your business for over 10 years. I'm sure there have been many ups and many lows, right, throughout the process. Can you guys share a moment where it just kind of came full circle and you're like, this is really why we do it. This right here is why we do it moment.
I mean, it probably happens more regular, probably about, honestly, like once a month. There's probably something between all the locations and all the dogs we care for. The most recent thing that was really impactful was at our newest location, the one that Live Oak actually helped us acquire and grow. It was about, I think, October, November of this past year, so not that long ago. We had a dog named Samson that came in, and the team there is our newest team, but they have tenure, they know what they're doing. But this dog was very, very challenging. Big dog, it was a breed that's highly energetic, and he was very selective with other dogs, selective with people. But the root of it was just understanding his behavior. And so there was a point where we actually had a meeting about Samson. He was a part of a topic at one of our team meetings with everybody there, and the team was essentially recommending that we don't have Samson come back to Social Pet because it was at a point where some of them were just concerned about his behavior and our ability to read his behavior and take care of him. But the leadership team was adamant that, well, let's peel this back. And this is what we do in any case. It's not unique to Samson, but we really took his situation and we said, okay, what are the elements that are concerning? And we went through that. And then all of our folks are trained in dog behavior, but there's the training that you do in the textbook. And online, there's also real life experience. And so our more experienced folks were able to retrain several of these folks that needed it to feel more confident. And at the end of the day, the reason that Samson was acting a certain way towards certain folks is that most dogs can feel your energy. They feel your confidence, or they feel that you're scared. They feel that you're apprehensive, and they feed into that. And so it was really a combination of understanding who he was, being confident about his care, and then, yes, taking the appropriate precautions because he is a breed and a personality that does demand your full attention when he is coming in and out of his accommodation. So that was what was really cool, though, is to go from full circle from we don't think we can care for this dog to now he is one of their favorite dogs, and they literally argue over who's going to care for him when he comes. And he's a regular. That was the other thing. He was there a lot, and so that's what made this even a bigger challenge. That we're like, all right, we don't take it lightly if we think a dog may not work out for Social Pet, because if they don't work out for us, they're not going to work out for anybody. And so we really take that to heart. Like and it still happens occasionally, but if we have to tell a pet parent that we can't take care of their dog, we know for the most part that the next best hope is probably in-home care of some sort. And we also know that the facility-based care is so superior to that. Our goal is to find a way to care for the dog safely.
Yeah, that's one of the most important things that we do is we're able to take care of dogs that other facilities can't. And we have good relationships with a lot of the businesses in our area, and so they will refer dogs to us that they cannot accommodate just due to reactivity or safety issues, or their facility isn't set up for that. And so because we're a small group play environment and a one-on-one play environment, we're able to accept and have a customized program for dogs just like Samson. And that's really the core of why we do what we do.
Question to both of you again. What does your success today look like, and what did it compare to when you first started?
I think it has evolved to some degree. We did come into the industry and get into small business with the goal of growing to a size where we could work on it more than in it and really enjoy it and have some balance for ourselves too. But probably the biggest thing that continues to evolve is just the opportunity that we see in the industry locally to where we're at specifically. We're in Charlotte, North Carolina, Southeast. There's a lot of folks, especially post-pandemic, that are moving into the Carolinas. They're moving, in some cases, they've moved to Florida. They're coming back up halfway to the Carolinas. And in all cases, Charlotte is growing tremendously and has not missed a beat. And it also happens to be a very dog-centric city. A lot of families, that's kind of almost like the starter family now. If you have a significant other, you get a dog, maybe you have kids, maybe you don't, but the dog's coming, or a cat. And so as we've seen the industry grow and evolve, our goal is to be on the cutting edge of that and continue to evolve and grow with it. But getting to a point where we could work on the business and really pay attention to those trends and guide our business more so than trying to shove it forward or having to work in it every day, that was really important.
It's been exciting to evolve as the industry has evolved too, and as Charlotte continues to grow, understanding what each generation, how they view their pet, what they want in pet care. And then our mission is to enrich the lives of dogs and the relationships they share with those who love them. And we can do that through Social Pet. We can do that through giving back in the industry, through my work with working with other pet care businesses. It's just exciting to expand our reach and to be able to fulfill that mission ourselves and help other pet care business owners fulfill that mission too.
So on the flip side to all of that, what has been your hardest season in this industry?
The pandemic, for one. That takes the cake for anything. A close second in some ways is the startup of any single one of them. Because one thing we've learned, and we fought through it, and we were too stupid to quit. At least I am. And so it's like there are times as the owner, entrepreneur, whatever you want to, like you're the only one that sees the opportunity. Even this last location that we started and opened, there's this initial burst of energy, everybody's excited, and those people that are initially interested in coming, they're gonna come and they're gonna use you or not use you, whatever. But then the hard part starts. It's actually not the startup of the construction and the bank process and the hiring all the initial staff and training them. That is challenging, but that's actually not the hard part. The hard part is getting it through the startup phase to be long-term, sustainably profitable, and with a turnover that's reasonable, developing a culture in that particular location. Even if you've got a great culture in your business, at other locations you have to foster that and build that in that particular location. And we've found no matter whether it was our first one or our third, it really takes a full 3 years to get through that process.
And I know that we had some challenges both during, the closing process and construction. But again, you put it on your shoulders to be almost like the GC, and you managed everything.
Yes.
So looking back, if you had a redo, obviously when you do your fourth location, and this was different because it was existing and you were making it like your other locations, what would you do differently?
Well, I would use the same lender, so I can't use that as an answer. I think when we look to grow, we require outdoor space. And we still would have done this deal now. The area's emerging. It's really, there's a lot of opportunity. The one thing I don't love about it is we're very landlocked. It's part of a larger 5-acre small industrial park. Our goal is to be owners of the real estate at some level, and we've been able to accomplish that with the first two. We still have that goal with the third, but that is probably something that will weigh even heavier on this next one is, can we own the property, or at least be part owners in the property from the outtake? Because that then changes the math on the loans on the money we can borrow.
So what was your biggest operational or financial mistake, and what has that taught you guys?
Our biggest mistake, and it connected both operationally and financially, was, I think for me, with our third location, we made the mistake of thinking that because we were already an established brand and established business in Charlotte, that we could open it and we could delegate to our leadership team, who is incredible. And the mistake was not because of them. They are talented, they're phenomenal, they know the people, they know the dogs, they know the clients. But the mistake that we made was that we tried inadvertently to delegate the culture that we try to create. What we found is that we were not as involved in that third location from the startup as much as we should have been. We needed to be on site more. We needed to be connecting more with the team, with the clients, with the dogs, just as we would with any of the other locations that we've opened, and it's what we would do in the future. It impacted operations just because even though the culture isn't tangible, it's more of a feeling. The culture impacts the operations, which then in turn, of course, impacts the financial piece of it. And so that was a mistake that we made, and it took about a year. We're still working to correct that. It's definitely improving, and that location is doing extremely well, and we have a really solid team up there. But that was something that we learned the hard way. We thought that because we were already established, we could open it and essentially be a little more hands-off because we didn't want to micromanage, but the culture suffered, and the culture is what sets us apart from other businesses in Charlotte.
So, Amy and Bill, how do you divide roles and responsibilities, as a couple?
We play paper, rock, scissors, and then whoever loses gets to choose.
Dividing our roles and responsibilities has been something that we've grown into as the business has grown, and we definitely could not do that alone. We have an executive coach. We have worked with a consultant. We worked with Lori Davis with Paramount Success Group. And as the business has grown, we've been able to further define what makes sense for each of us based on our strengths, based on what we enjoy, based on what's a natural fit. Finding our zone of excellence has really helped propel the business forward. That's not to say that we always enjoy everything we do every day. You know, of course, we have to do things that we don't love, or we have to be there to support each other and help each other out. But that's something that we've learned along the way.
So what boundaries have you guys had to learn and work on to really protect your relationship?
That is a great question. I would say it's a constant evolving process. Probably having conversations about stuff that seems more mundane or minutia, but being intentional about talking through those things that may come natural when you don't have a business together, or even having a kid together. It's almost like each location of our business is one of our children. And so we have one human child, we have a couple furry children, and then we have the 3 social pet children. And so as parents for all of those, we have to really be intentional. And so we also, so Amy mentioned we have an executive coach that we've been working with since 2020, actually that summer. And we have a marriage counselor that we work with. And then we have our own like counseling that we do. And all of that is done as a proactive measure, not because we have massive challenges that, to be honest, I think we're able to navigate things before they become big issues. And that's what allows us to continue to do what we're doing, because what we do for a living and how we do it would break a lot of marriages up easily. So we have to be very conscious of that and call it what it is and not try to hide behind that. And definitely, even for like this podcast, be honest about that, because I don't think a lot of people would want to admit that they either need help navigating that, or they want to try to put on this persona like, I got it covered, I figured it all out, and that's never the case. It's never the case. The smart move is to know what you're weak at and fill those gaps with people that are better at that than you are, and listen to them.
Yeah, the success of any relationship is so dependent on communication, and so we're working on communication with each other, how to communicate with our teams. And in terms of boundaries, I think creating the space for that physical wellness and the mental wellness piece to be a priority too. So we each have our own routines that we respect with each other in terms of exercising or taking time off or whatever hobbies we need to do. And as long as we can communicate that, then it just makes us better individually, which makes us better as a team, and then makes our business better too.
I love that you're bringing this up. Whether it's a husband and wife working in the business together, or, if the husband has more proactive, working in the business more so. If you're in a marriage, it's still very much, for a family, right? So I love this topic because I feel like it's really anyone that is married or in a relationship really needs to kind of think about it. And I love that you mentioned that you guys do all this proactively, because I feel like a lot of times customers are like, this won't happen to us or something, and you don't really take that step until maybe you already need to.
Yeah.
And so kind of being proactive on that, I think is very good for kind of people to hear that.
Yeah, and I think it's funny how as we've grown as people and as we've gotten older, for me, I've realized that more and more. I can't sit here and say at 25 that I had that insight, but the maturity gained, I think, from the experiences we've had, and not losing sight of our core values and why we're doing this in the first place. And that goes back to, like, for example, going to a lender like Live Oak versus using private equity or venture capital, selling part of our business. It allows us to stay true to who we are, but we have to be conservative in how we grow and not grow so quickly to put ourselves in a bind. And so it's definitely a give and take.
And we kind of talked about it before, about the culture and consistency. What do you find? I know that you've mentioned like that third location was definitely like, it was an eye-opener and something changed,
Mm-hmm.
but like how did you encompass having those 3 facilities? And I know people move around in roles and move around maybe in locations, but what makes you special, or what is kind of even a secret sauce that you do that you feel that really makes, your employees and yourselves feel, okay, we're doing the right thing here?
Well, there's no secret sauce. It's still working very hard.
Yes.
It's still being humble and not becoming overconfident in the success you've already had. That is probably the biggest thing that I've found. I mean, we'll be 12 years old in June, actually, the company will be, and we have continued to see growth. Last year, we grew over the year before. In our industry, that wasn't the case all the way around, and so this year, Q1, we showed a little growth, even though which was really hard, and we had some not so great weather in February that didn't help, but we continue to see progress because I think we continue to work on ourselves and progress as leaders. Otherwise, I think we would have hit some major roadblocks a long time ago.
So how did your guys' leadership style evolve as you scaled from the 1 location to now 3?
It's very different leading 1 location versus leading 2 and 3. When you're leading 1 location, you can still be a source of information, a primary source of information, pretty much at all times. And as we grew to multiple locations, we saw the need we had to lead through other people. We had to have really strong systems in place and really educate our leaders on those decisions and just how to lead the locations. And so it forced us to get really organized, documenting all of our SOPs. We essentially have a social pet playbook for how we operate. And I think it's a real test of your leadership when you can lead multiple versus just 1. It's just very different because you can't be the person there anymore. Physically, you can't divide yourself into multiple parts. And then mentally, you just can't be thinking about everything and making decisions everywhere all at once. So it required us to get organized and start to lead through our people more.
All right, so now as we wrap up, our last little session here is called the Bark Blitz. It's just rapid fire. We're gonna ask you quick questions and just answer with the first thing that pops to mind.
What's something that people don't see behind the scenes?
All the failures.
Definitely all the failures. I think when you're running the business well, it can sometimes be made to look easy, and it's been a challenge every single day.
So if you had to summarize your success in 1 word, what would that be?
Probably tenacity.
Tenacity.
Best advice you've ever been given?
I don't even know.
Never had good advice.
Yeah.
We can skip that one if
No,
you're...
it's a good question. I don't know why I'm blanking. I don't know. I mean, it's a
Like,
very good
was the
question.
best advice like whenever you first started out that you both had a lane each, or was it the fact that you had educational, you had the business? Like, what was?
I mean, honestly, the best advice that I ever I learned early on: if you just don't quit, you're gonna get there. You just don't quit. And that in the Army, I remember thinking like, if I can just get to breakfast, if I can just get to lunch, if I can just get to the evening, if I can just get to taking a shower, or whatever.
And I think that's good.
So you just break it down into like the smallest segments you have to make it palatable. It's like how you eat an elephant, and you just don't quit. And I think it's that simple on the surface anyway.
When I was still at the school before we started Social Pet, there was a lady who was on the school leadership team who owned a business with her husband, and she told me it's very hard to work with your spouse. And there was no advice that followed with that, but it's something that always stuck with me because in the moments where it just feels so challenging, I come back to that and I remember, okay, this is normal. And so it's just something that just sort of resets everything and just reminds me, okay, it's supposed to be hard, it is hard, and that's okay.
What keeps you all excited about the future of Social Pet?
So many things.
For me, the excitement comes with the growth and the potential for what we can continue to do. I never envisioned having 3 run so successfully, and so thinking about how we can grow to multiple locations, how we can continue to expand our team and what new positions we can add and what jobs we create, that's really exciting for me.
Yeah, I think the number of dogs we can care for is always that always speaks to me, honestly. And we don't do anything based on volume, but we do actively look at that. Like if we have a client, especially those that come to us regularly, and we don't have a spot for them, like you really feel that. It's now, if somebody's beating down the door the day before a holiday and you've never seen them before in your life,
You don't feel.
that was poor planning, right? There's a difference. But for a lot of our core clients, like that is the hardest thing to do, is tell them, I'm so sorry, we don't have a spot. But what having multiple locations has done is given those folks an option. And of course, our goal is to be booked every day, nonstop. That would be great. On one hand, that would be great. On the other hand, we've really struck a good balance. We're still going to see growth. We're still going to, especially in that newest location, but we're very stable at the other two, and our growth will be in the ways we can care for dogs as we move forward, more so than the number of dogs.
Well, I think it speaks to Samsung, the dog that you
Yes.
talked about, and all of what you offer different from other pet care facilities around the area. But again, I just think that that makes you very unique as well. So it does. Do you offer with, talking of Samsung, if you couldn't put him into play with everybody, do you have something that he could, have some time alone, like he'd be outside alone with that one-on-one?
Yes, well, and this particular dog is that it's a one-on-one enrichment, and so I think he may have a couple friends that he can play with, but that depends on, are they there the same time he's there, and that can be a variable. So a lot of times it is one-on-one interaction with our staff. He's having a ball, and we also have a sensory garden, we have a splash park. We have these separate enrichment, like it's fully immersive for the dog. And so they don't have to engage with another dog to have a really great time. And a lot of them prefer the engagement with the people because they're used to being with the family, the human family they have. So they're like, this is awesome, more family.
What is your favorite dog breed?
My favorite breed is a pit bull or a pit mix. I just think they are big babies, and whether they're more of a house hippo or more of a land seal. We have a seal at home personally. His name is Danny. And he's just the biggest baby. So for me, it's a pit bull or pit mix.
Yeah, no, I like long-haired dachshunds. Yes. So my dog, I'm her human, is JoJo, and she's 15. She's really cranky with everybody but me, and I take a lot of pride in that.
Notice how he said my dog and
I
not
did.
our dog.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I don't think she claims you, to be
She
honest.
doesn't claim
no.
me. That's okay.
You're the
I
spare
respect
human.
her. I respect
Yeah.
her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Final question of the Blitz. What's your favorite ice cream flavor?
My favorite ice cream flavor is cookies and cream. If there's an Oreo involved, then I'm there for it.
Probably chocolate like malt.
Gross.
That's very specific.
That is gross.
And it has to be really moist.
Oh, no.
All right, so now we're wrapping up. If you guys can tell everyone, how can we find you?
Yeah, you can find us at our website, socialpethotel.com, and all of our socials at Social Pet Pineville, at Social Pet Charlotte, at Social Pet Northlake.
So one key takeaway, I think, from speaking with you both today is kind of knowing your lane, working on your marriage, and never giving up is kind of what I got from today.
Yep. You just gotta keep going when you don't want to. Because the beauty is, if you've never owned a business before, you don't know what you're getting into. And ignorance can be bliss as long as you don't quit. That's really all there is to it.
Yeah, it's the most challenging thing, but it's the most rewarding thing, so it's worth it.
Thanks for listening. We hope you fetched some good ideas from this episode. Stay tuned and follow along for some more great conversations to come.